Okay, you guys, I'm back briefly. So I didn't think I was going to do a little audio today, but I saw something and it just made me realize why I like being solo. That's not to say that I shouldn't have associates and you always need resources, you know. But for the most part, I like being solo. I was in a Facebook looking at a cipher. It's a Facebook group. It's a cipher. And it's more on the physical side, talking about different things. That's not really limited to the mundane world, right? And so, or the physical world. And so, I was looking at a lot of the posters on the group for a specific event that's going to be happening, right? And I just happened to see where some woman posted a thumbnail from one of Ashira Star Goddess's videos. And it's one of those, the thumbnail is where Ashira Star Goddess has her hand to her finger to her mouth, as to say shh. And then she's making this funny face when she does it. And it seems like of all of the videos Ashira Star Goddess has done over the years, this lady decides to use this thumbnail where she's making a funny face. I think this is a black woman that did this, where Shira Star Goddess is making this funny face with her finger to her mouth, saying, shh, as to say, shh, women talk too much. Is that I haven't watched that video, but I do remember seeing a title in my recommended box. I do remember seeing that title, but I haven't watched that video. It's because I don't watch too many of those videos. I'm not really interested in, really dating anybody, so I don't really watch too many of those videos because I'm not really interested in anybody. But here's what I want to say. I said that I ride solo because notice out of all women, because all women can be pretty catty. All women are gossipy. All women, not when I say all, I'm talking about just what women do. I don't mean every single woman on the planet, because I don't get interested in gossiping with other people about somebody else. But what I'm saying is that for the most part, something that a lot of women do when I say all. So, and we know women nitpick on each other and find things wrong. It's something that women do. But I noticed that it's pretty worse in black women, no matter what the black woman look like. Okay, I can see a black woman being nitpicky, and if she's one of those type of women that really, really, really keep herself up. She keeps herself up. She's sharp every day. She clean. I can see probably her might maybe looking at other people like, okay, something is not right. But what I notice is, and this is why I've said this before. It's unfortunate that a lot of the black women that have come online, that have done blogs to try to speak about the issues of black women, that try to speak out against a lot of the bashing, that try to defend black women, which a lot of women aren't anymore, but try to defend black women. A lot of those women, and including me, have admitted that we have not had many black women friends, and a lot of times we experience where it's a little bit easier to not necessarily have a friendship, but to have a conversation or be more accepted by non-black people and non-black women than it is to be accepted by black women, because a lot of times the black women always want to find something wrong with you. I don't care what these women look like. I don't care if they come from the projects, because I grew up in an area called Tuskegee, Alabama. I grew up in an area. Now, the area I grew up in was not. I grew up in a very rural area, and most of my neighbors were white, but we were in such a country area that I didn't even have a house number. But all the houses were very spaced apart because we had large yards, and then, my neighbors were white. But then you go into other parts, the main part of Tuskegee is extremely poor. It is extremely, one of the poorest. Okay. And a lot of these black people, black women, that are black girls that I've always noticed growing up is that they always have something negative to say. And I'm gonna get to what they said about a Shira Star Goddess. They always have something negative to say about somebody, no matter what you do. And I don't care what walk of life these girls or these women come from. Because in Tuskegee, Alabama, a lot of them don't have a lot of money, but some of them do okay, you know. But Tuskegee, Alabama is a place that don't even have hospitals, that don't have the regular necessities, because there's so many people over there that don't pay taxes because a lot of them are on welfare. Okay, because it's a black town. Tuskegee, Alabama is like 99.9% black with only a few whites. Okay, so you can't even have a hospital over there. One of my relatives had to close down her doctor's office because the people they couldn't pay for their bills. There's so many people that's low income, and so many people that's getting government help that and when I mean that, I'm talking about like literally welfare, where they don't pay taxes on anything, that you can't afford to put the basic necessities in that area. You can't do it. And so but I just wanted to talk about how no matter what walk of life these ladies come from, whether they're rich, and it seems like the ones who are rich are not as bad as the ones who are poor. It seems like the black women, from my experience growing up, it's the ones who hardly don't have nothing that have the most to say. I've noticed that. I think a lot of the ones who are more well off, I think that they are not as insecure. And if they do have an insecurity, it's from something else. But I think it's because they've always had, a lot of those black girls that I grew up with, that have always pretty much had what they wanted. They weren't really as critical as those who didn't have a lot. It seems like the black women who didn't have a lot were the ones who were extra critical. Okay, but let me get on the Shira Star Goddess and what I'm talking about. So somebody posted a photo of her, and they talked about, is a Shira Star Goddess okay? I noticed that she's just been looking different. She went from a drastic change. Well, look to me, when I first started watching the Shira Star Goddess, and she has a channel called Shira71 as well. She was a little more chunkier, and she wore her natural hair, of course, and it was curly, okay? And lately, I mean, it looked like she literally lost no less than 50 pounds. It literally looked like she lost no less than 50 pounds. And so sometimes when you lose weight like that, and then you start a leveling up platform, sometimes you change the way you look and everything else, because now you're starting groups and platforms talking about leveling up. Now, some people don't agree with her message of leveling up. I'm not really talking about her message of leveling up, because like I said, I don't listen to too many of her videos on Shira71 anyway, because I'm not really interested in dating like that. So I'm not here to speak about whatever she has to say. My point in this audio is to talk about how a lot of black women just find things, just like to nitpick on people. So their main thing was talking about how she just looked different. She looks so different, like talking about now how she wears a lot of wigs now, and she looked like she's shape-shifting. They said that she looked like she's shape-shifting. You know what the thing about shape-shifting is? All of us shape-shift at one point or another. Here's my thing about shape-shifting and how I see shape-shifting. So you can be one way at home with your family, and then when you go to your regular job, if you have a job, you have to become another person. Is that not shape-shifting? Okay? Or if you're around some other people, and you have to impress them in a certain way, like if you have some kind of trying to make some kind of deal or whatever it is that you're doing, and you're about to meet a certain group of people that expect certain things, where you can't approach them the same way you would hang out with your homegirls or whoever you hang out with. You have to go to them differently. Is that not shape-shifting? So I see shape-shifting a little bit differently. I mean, some of these people in these metaphysical groups want to call everybody reptilians and call them gargoyles and stuff. They get too deep into this stuff, but but I was just wanting to get on a nitpick, and then they talked about how, oh, I hope everything is all right in paradise. Now they getting on her marital, her marital business. So because they said because she makes a lot of videos about gold digging, that something must be wrong with her and her husband. Well, no, nothing. I don't know if there's anything wrong with her husband, because she basically is saying that she got with him for the purpose of him having money. Okay. And I've listened to Shira Star Goddess for, like I said, a few years, maybe about 3 to 4 years, mostly on our Shira Star Goddess page more than Shira 7. But I have heard a few videos on her Shira 7 page, right? And I just never heard her really speak about love when it comes to choosing a mate. She usually talk about getting a man who can provide for you. And there's other women that say, get somebody who's good, who's best for the job. So you do hear women talk about that. But these women act like this is something new. I've never heard a Shira 7 talk about look for love in a mate. No, she say get somebody who can, who can provide for you and don't do the 50-50 and, all of that different stuff, She's not your typical housewife where they're expected to cook and clean all the time. She has a cleaning person who comes in every once in a while, I think every week. So, I mean, I've never really known her to talk about love and being a damsel in distress and all of that stuff. But they're getting into her marital business, saying that they hoping everything is right, okay, in paradise. They talking about how she look, talking about how she's wearing weaves and how she just looks so different. And they posted pictures of her from like maybe 2 years ago compared to now. Because when 2 years ago, she looked like she was 50 pounds or more heavier. And of course, as she lost the weight, of course, she probably got more confidence, even though she seemed to have confidence when she was heavier too. But they talking about how she's talking about gold digging more and more and more. But I think a lot of the way she looks and a lot of her messages come from starting this level up group. And because she has started this level up group, her messages are probably going to be a little more different and more focused on getting. But she was always into getting a man with money, because that's why she with her husband, and she has said that. Okay. Whether she loves him or not, I don't think she ever said. Okay. In Trouble in Paradise, we don't know what Trouble in Paradise means for Shira 7, because she's not one of those kind of women that she's not one of those traditional kind of wives. Okay, so Trouble in Paradise for these black women might not mean the same thing for Shira 7, because Shira 7, just from listening to her, she has a completely different way of thinking. Okay. But yeah, so that's all I want to talk about. I don't want to stay on here too long, but I just want to get on how they just want to nitpick on folks and talk about how she look and talk about how she wearing all these wigs and stuff instead of her natural hair, and just saying that it's probably something that's wrong with her and her husband's relationship, not getting into her business, calling her a shapeshifter. We all shapeshift. The people need to get out the spooky stuff. We all shapeshift. We are all vibrational beings. Okay, so here's the thing, right. So if I spent a large portion of my life not really not really caring about myself, right? Not really putting myself first. Being a sacrifice constantly for somebody else. So if I spent 35 years of my life doing that, right? And then after 35 and on my 36th year, I started really doing some changes to myself, working on self-love, starting to put myself first. And then I have a totally different interaction with people because my frequency has changed. Hello, that's shapeshifting. That is shapeshifting. People need to stop being spooky and stop being hooked on these doggone reptilians and thinking they turn into freaking snakes, okay? Or some doggone dragons or alligators. Okay. They need to stop being spooky. Not to say that things don't happen out here. I'm not trying to say that things don't happen. And I don't know what a Shira Star Goddess is. Somebody else said that she said she an alien. Well, I got news for you just from what I know. A lot of us are star seeds. So I got, people need to quit that too. Talking about she says she an alien. A lot of people are star seeds, okay? See, we're getting out of this old, antiquated way of thinking that does not do anything for anybody's highest good. That's why it's not about race anymore, and it's more about bloodlines and where you come from. But anyway, I don't want to get too far into that, get off topic. I just want to talk about how sometimes they nitpick, and it just brought me back to thinking about how a lot of women say, even though they spent a lot of time trying to, speak up for black women, talk about black women's issues, many of them, majority of them, I say out of 10 of those women that have tried to speak up for black women, you might find one or two that actually say they can, they actually have meaningful relationships with other black women. Majority, and it's for this reason. Like, you find any reason to find something wrong with somebody, even if they are not perfect. I mean, I'm pretty sure that she has her ways about her, but if you don't care for her message, you don't care for her message. I just never saw where Ashira Star Goddess preached about love in the first place. Okay, to me, it seemed like she always talked about money, but now, of course, she's talking about it more because she has a level up group. But if you don't like the message, I mean, don't click on the videos. I don't click on her videos because because I'm not interested in really dating. Those type of messages just do not resonate with me. Okay, but they might resonate for somebody else because people actually felt like Ashira Star Goddess has helped them in some kind of way. But I don't resonate. It does not resonate with me. Okay, and so anyway, with that being said, and not a Ashira Star Goddess, but the Shira 7 page. Those videos don't really. The Ashira Star Goddess page actually resonates with me more, but the Shira 7 one really doesn't, because I'm not interested really in the topics. Okay, I'm not interested in really dating like that. So yeah, that's all I want to. You guys, let me know what you think. About riding solo. Have you been able to really make a lot of black women friends, or do you find them being constantly critical of any old small thing? Just constantly criticizing you, want to always find something wrong, looking down on you. I don't even care if you have a shoe on with some type of lint on your shoe. They find something wrong with it. Just let me know what you